What you doing, mate?
Bricks on the beat.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Yannick. Welcome back to Gasoline Culture. So today we have something a little bit unusual for you guys, and I say unusual because we don't usually feature that many BMWs on the channel, and that's probably due to the fact that BMW has somewhat failed to produce a very exciting car in the last couple of years. I test drove the M4 when it first came out, and to be honest with you, I thought it was a little underwhelming. It kind of fails to capture that BMW M aura. So if you think back to cars, for example, like the E30 M3, the E46 M3 CSL, even the 1M, I mean, these are cars that perfectly embody what an M car or an M BMW is all about. It's the perfect balance between sport and comfort. And I mean, usually the people who are driving these cars, I don't know, they race around a track in a GT3 RS on the weekends, and they like to have that driver involvement during the week, just with a little bit more added comfort. And I just really feel like the M4, you know, with the lack of responsiveness from the turbocharged motor and things like that, kind of lost that true M identity. But yeah, now they're back. We're sitting in the BMW M2, and I really think that this could be the most important and best M car in the last 5 years. Alright, so you guys just saw the exterior of the car, and man, BMW have really hit the nail on the head with this one. Look at this thing. It's easily one of the best looking cars on the road today. The way that they've just widened the arches, and like the proportions are perfect. It's the perfect length, the perfect width. It's low and has a very aggressive front end, which just looks stunning. This car does have a couple options which do sort of emphasize that. So we have the black nostrils in the front, or just the black front grille, along with the BMW M Performance carbon fiber trunk lip spoiler, which really adds to the sort of shape of the car and just gives it that extra little touch. I have to say that in terms of looks, this car is up there with the best. Alright, so we got to talk a little bit about the interior. I mean, this car is great value for money, but at the end of the day, it's still a premium automobile, and I really think that the interior on this car is not up to par. The best part about it is definitely the steering wheel, the typical M steering wheel, which I think is one of the best in the industry right now. Beautiful leather, beautiful stitching, the paddles feel great, and yeah, but that's about it. I mean, you do have a decent navigation system and everything, but the rest of the cabin just feels very, very cheap. I mean, the use of this plastic or rubber, I mean, whatever it is, don't ask, it's just, it's not pretty, it doesn't feel nice to the touch. And yeah, I mean, whilst we're on the dash here, you can see this sort of fake carbon fiber look material which is used throughout the car. Now, there have been some discussions on forums, and it might actually be real carbon fiber. To be honest with you, I don't really care, because I mean, it doesn't feel or look like real carbon fiber, and if there's anything worse than fake carbon fiber, then it's expensive real carbon fiber that doesn't actually look or feel like it. Then moving over to the seats, I think the seats, they look terrible. I mean, it's one of the ugliest seats ever made. It just looks like a garden chair from the 80s, and you could just see it's so like big and heavy. Why don't they offer some nice bucket seats like that Recaro Sportster CS, I think it's called, that used to be available over BMW M Performance? That would be the perfect seat for this car and would really make the interior that much better. But one thing I will say also about the seats is that they do hug you rather well, and they are comfortable on long drives. And just in general, the interior, it does sort of wrap around you and does make you feel very at home inside this car. But I just think the materials that are used are not up to standard. I think the most important part of this car is not really the interior or the exterior, it's the way it drives. I mean, it's a BMW M car. It's all about the driver's experience, and to be honest with you, I'm very positively surprised. I mean, looking at the M4 and how sort of unconnected that felt, this is entirely different, and I really think that the smaller size adds to that. The car really feels like it's a genuine M car, and it's very driver oriented. So let me give you a couple numbers on the BMW M2. It's got 370 PS, 500 Newton meters from its 3-liter straight 6 single twin scroll turbocharger, as opposed to the older N54 engine in the 1M, which was actually still a proper twin turbo. It puts down the power to the rear wheels and does 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds for the dual clutch car and 4.5 for the manual. Now the car weighs in at 1,595 kilograms, which is rather heavy for a car of this size. I just can't get the thought out of my mind of how good this car would be at around 1,300 kilograms. So this car is actually fitted with the DCT dual clutch transmission. I would have had the option to review a manual, but considering the fact that most reviews online are actually of manuals, and although I would prefer a manual, I thought I would go for the DCT. I mean, BMW claims that the car is actually designed around this transmission and not the manual, so I thought we'd just give it a try and see how it does. And you can really tell that this is an M division car. But I was a little bit skeptical because after having driven the M4 a couple of years ago, I was really unhappy with the way that the car delivered the power. I mean, it's very fast in a straight line, but the problem was just that the car would have these crazy torque spikes in the mid-range, which would just set the rear tires on fire, and you couldn't put down the power in the mid-range or at lower speeds, and it would literally die off about 1,000 RPMs before redline, which made the power delivery very unprogressive and very undocile. It was very hard to modulate, and I have to say that this is something that BMW has really improved on this car. It's still a 6-cylinder motor. I mean, there's cars that get compared to this all the time. For example, an RS3, which also does have an amazing engine, but I mean, you know, AMG is going 4-cylinder now, and so is Porsche in the 718s. And you just got to give it to BMW for still retaining, you know, 3 liters of displacement and that legendary inline-6. And I actually really like the sound this car produces. Now, I'm not sure if in sport mode they have some like interior valves or whatever you want to call them, where it just lets in the engine sound into the interior of the cabin. But you do get this nice mechanical sound coming from the front of the car. So with these BMWs, it's really not all about exhaust sound. It's really about the sort of induction noises and things like that. So surprisingly, the M2 actually does pull almost till redline. It doesn't really die off 1,000 RPMs before redline like the M4 does. I really like that. It just gives it, you know, it gives it that M character. It gives it that sort of broad power band that these cars need to have. So suspension, first thing you notice when you get in is that even in its comfort setting, it's relatively stiff, which I'm not necessarily a fan of, but it's not uncomfortable by any means, and it's still compliant, still sucks up the bumps, you know, and just provides decent handling when you're still in comfort mode. The surprising thing though is when you put it in Sport or Sport Plus, which does stiffen up the shocks, it actually doesn't get super stupid stiff like most cars do nowadays. It actually just goes into a slightly sportier setting, which is actually usable. Nowadays, most cars, you know, you put them in sport or dynamic or whatever you want to call it, and they just go super stiff. Now, I don't know why car manufacturers do this, because it's only properly usable on a track, on a perfectly flat one, that is. Let's talk about the transmission. It's a dual clutch unit, and as I said before, I could have reviewed a manual, but most people have already done that. Yeah, I mean, it's the usual dual clutch, I mean, instantaneous shift. I do feel like there is a slight lag between the paddle input and the actual shift, which is a little bit disappointing, but that's maybe because I'm spoiled, because, you know, driving things like the 675 LT where, you know, the shifts are just absolutely instantaneous, they yeah, like everything kind of sucks after that. But when you really punch it, yep, the shifts are very, very fast. And I actually like that they give you a slight little, you know, like knock in the back to make you sort of feel what's going on. I mean, it's not as harsh as a single clutch gearbox, but they definitely added a little bit of a push there to just make you feel a little bit more, and I really like that touch because it really improves the driver involvement. And another thing that I really love about the gearbox, and I just have to praise BMW for this, is this little stick down here. So first of all, it's really nicely ergonomic, but it's one of the few cars where you actually pull the lever down to upshift, which makes perfect sense. And while you're braking and the whole weight of the car is basically being pushed forwards, you push forwards to downshift. I mean, that's how it is in rally cars and everything, and that's, to me, that's the only way it makes sense. All right, let's talk about the brakes very quickly. It's something that I think BMW could improve on, a steel setup, which has great feel to it, but there is also quite a bit of fade. We're just going along at a steady pace, and I don't know, I just feel like this car really could do with some better brakes. I saw this guy on Instagram put the M3, M4 ceramics on an M2. Now that is sick, props to you, sir. So after the 1M having been a car which was really jam-packed full of drama and just character, I was kind of worried that BMW wouldn't pull it off on this one, but they really have. So this car does definitely have certain disadvantages, you know, as every car does, but I really think that this is a fantastic attempt from BMW to really go back into what they used to make in the M division. I think it's a very, very well-balanced car with fantastic performance, and it's exciting to drive. That's what I love about this car. I mean, listen to that. It's really all about feeling this car and just getting that driver involvement and that experience. It really is an awesome car to drive. I mean, if I had to compare this to a rival, let's say an RS3 or an A45, or even the new Boxster, the 718, I mean, effectively what you're getting here for your money is just a car that is much more refined. It combines everything so well. It looks amazing, and the way it drives and how it lets you extract every little bit of performance from its engine, from its suspension, from the gearbox, you know, it's just so rewarding to drive, even for relatively inexperienced drivers. And the way it's predictable as well, that's what I really like. The power delivery as well as the suspension travel, it's all just, you know, you can anticipate it and you can work with the power. And the way it pulls through the gears, it's such a fantastic experience. And I really think that BMW have done such a good job in providing, you know, the car community with a driver's car.